I would say rigid type of rugby compared to everybody else. Not very fancy, those running lines and things like that. And within kicking range, will they take points? And the captain calls for points, and they will go for posts because Manicaland will do the same. And smart decision, getting the first 3 points of the day. Now, the big matchups today and the big story in rugby circles is the announcement of an interim Sables coach, Pete Bernardi, legendary fly off for Zimbabwe. And that is a story for another day. But he will be coaching old Hararians that will be playing later on today. Last week, he was very unhappy with what his charges did against Manicaland. Now, having a look at that kick and the rich history today, it looks like there will be no championship for the Dragons if they don't go past Manicaland. Just judging from this, from the 10-yard, that should be a good 38 meters. Good 38 meters. It is nice and high. It's got the direction not clear. And that's a 22-meter drop kick. Very disappointing. The height and the elevation was quite all right. But the direction, not so much. But still, they have yards to gain and an unpredictable Manicaland side. Now, one of the stalwarts in the Manicaland side is Stefan Hunduza, also known as Tavo. He made headway for wearing his red boots last week, which fans believe are his lucky boots, and he's the stalwart of the side. The Dragons, once again, with shouts of Uraya, Uraya, being called in there by Manicaland. Ref not having any of that, some bit of indiscipline from Old Georgians and in that ruck. Maybe the captain will have a word or two with the ref. And Manicaland looks like they'll go for territory this time. Very likely to go for territory. It will be a smart move. Oh my gosh. Like we did say, Manicaland are very dangerous. Anytime they cross the halfway mark and you cause a penalty, they will go for posts. And very early on, we're just into the 4th minute of this match. And already, Manicaland are looking for those 3 points that the Dragons were looking for. And some very tense moment. Now, looking at him, he has the height, he has the elevation, and that is through. So what this means for any team that's playing against Manicaland is the fact that if at any point in time you lose a penalty after the halfway mark, you will potentially lose 3 points, especially if you're in the middle channel directly ahead of the post. So Manicaland putting points early, the same pressure that they applied on Old Hararians last weekend. Old Georgians looking very composed, very good with their ball retention. I must say that from all the teams we have in Zimbabwe, Old Georgians are known for retaining possession. Unlike the Pit Bulls, who are very fluid and experimental, Old Georgians have a very clear and defined structure, which is something that has been part of their rugby culture for the past 2 decades. And this time, not kicking to the forwards, and that kicker kicking out of danger. So this goes now straight to the Old Georgians Dragons. Unfortunately, the kicker had his foot on the 22-yard line. So if you're just joining us, it's 3 points to nil. Manicaland leading Old Georgians Dragons. It is in the 6th minute of the first match of the week number 2 of the Nedbank Challenge Cup right here at Harare Sports Club, the Machinery Exchange Stadium. Remember to call your friends, copy the link at the bottom of this live stream. We want more rising stars. Copy, share on your WhatsApp status, on your WhatsApp groups, tag a friend to tag a friend. And there we go, the Dragons within striking range. third phase already, and looking like they're totally in control, changing directions. Quarter man there on the back foot. Looks like we're going to have a lot of pick, truck and trailers, and it's synonymous with All Georgians Dragons. They always have a man at the hip when they pick. Halfback allowing his forwards to keep having more phases. If my count is all right, that should be at least 7 phases. And we have a nice shadow run with numbers on the far side. And we have a 2-on-1 situation. Corner flag. It is try time for All Georgians Dragons. Pretty much this is the All Georgians Dragons playbook. If your forwards are not awake, if your forwards are not alert, they will come through phase by phase, ruck by ruck, and you always have to watch out for that more. Just looking at that, All Georgians trying to commit as many of the Manicaland players and allowing at least 2 players in excess on the far side, and it was pretty much textbook stuff. I know the fullback wanted to show some sidestepping skills, not quite necessary, but it works. This is the Nedbank Challenge Cup. Second kick attempt. At this stage, we can safely say that All Georgians are safely in control of this. Now, if you want to see some more rugby action, we have one of our videographers, is a paparazzi kind of guy, follows the under-20 rugby side everywhere. I'm not so sure how this guy actually does any work at all at the office, because he's in Canada, he is in Kenya, he's following them in their change rooms. So yeah, we have all the behind the scenes. If you see a videographer following players to the gym, that shows dedication. So if you want to see that and more on the Rising Star page, go on to the Rising Stars page, follow us. We are ready. So All Georgians Dragons leading with a 2-point lead. It is 5-3 in favor of All Georgians Dragons, with Manicaland showing that they have what it takes to cause an upset. They missed out by a few points last week, and they really want it this time. What can the Wasus do? Putting so much pressure with a series of knock-ons there. That pressure defense seeming to unsettle All Georgians for a little bit. And today the body language in the Manicaland setup is a bit different. They are pumped up, talking a little bit more. Stefan Hunduza has not yet been introduced into the side, and they've started off with a different center pairing. But when the veteran former Sable, or I say eligible Sable, comes on after having his stint in Zambia, and that scrum, All Georgian scrum, looking mean, but they sort of have been outplayed. Good work from the tight head within that scrum. I know, just looking at the stands, they're starting to fill up the early morning games, and the sun is already out. I feel pity for the players playing around lunchtime, because temperatures are well above 20 degrees Celsius, and it's only 9:15 in the morning. And danger once again. The war is within the scrum, and you know the playbook between these two sides. Manicaland, the boys from the Eastern Highlands, feeding off the pools of teams such as Mutare Boys High, Hillcrest College, as among some of those famous rugby schools. Now this is what's happening, exactly as we called it. From the commentary box, he is within striking distance, he kicks with his right foot, and all he has to do is curl it from right to left. This kick will put Manicaland a point ahead and add more pressure. Comfortably does it. That's quite strange. He misses out on this kick. I think he rushed himself. He had about 2 minutes to think about it. And then with a quick tap from the Dragons. Now let's see if they've got some pace at the end. Not very smart. And there's a lot of chirping on the ground. Unfortunately, we don't want to let you know what players are saying to each other. But one of the Mutare players is saying, "You have been hit, waro waiwewe." And that's the nature of rugby that's going on now. I think Old Georgians right now shot themselves in the foot. Could have had an easy offload to gain a try there. But, you know, these wingers and fullbacks always trying to outrun each other. Smart play was to just offload, get the points, and move on. Looks like there's going to be a change. One of the worst things to do at a rugby match today is to have your coffee at 9 o'clock in this heat. But like the boys from Manicaland says, a gentleman knows no weather. We have an injury concern, and the medics are attending to that player. Looks like he's able to get up. No need for a stretcher. But the ref just taking some safety protocols to make sure that that player is escorted out. So today's format, you must be wondering, how are we going to play 9 rugby matches on one day, on one venue? Well, the format is really quick fire. It's about 25 minutes per half. So it's quite explosive rugby. And players are able to play 2 matches in one day. And a lot of the energy reserved for the final. But Manicaland giving it 100%. And the kick out of touch is just over the 22. A bit of safety there. Now just having a look at all those old Georgians Dragons. A change of hooker today. See, the number 7 normally is the hooker. He has played the hooker for the national team and Go Shocks as well. But today he's playing as a flanker, as one of the veterans within the side. And having the younger hooker starting. The throw's not so clean. Mutare chases it. And Manicaland running the ball, and not quite sure what they're doing in the far end, but they have a lethal backline, and it's game on. Good tackle. Manicaland getting ground. It's open play. And well done to Manicaland, showing some grit, teeth, and aggression. It's 14 minutes into the first half, about 10 minutes to go. And Manicaland trailing by 5 points to 3 against the Old Georgians Dragons. In the opening match of the second day, the final week of the Nedbank Challenge Cup, right here at Harare Sports Club at the Machinery Exchange Stadium. The home side, Harare Sports Club, proving that they're quite a potent side. Last week beating the select under-20 side from Nedbank. There we have Manicaland kicking for territory, a nice high kick. And Manicaland not quite sure, getting to the ball second. And the ref's not having any of that. A quick tap from Old Georgians. And that halfback showing grit. Manicaland forced to go back 10. Now the smart decision. Will Old Georgians go for posts once again? Go for territory. They have been dominant in the lineouts and have not been defeated in the lineouts. That's a good kick. That's a very good kick, right at the 22. So not quite sure what the strategy is for Old Georgians. The first try came through from their normal playbook, where they have multiple phases, get to commit Manicaland and then spread the ball wide. Makes it very easier for their back three to then finish through. But this time we'll see they're very dangerous within their 22. They could have taken posts directly in front of posts. Could have conserved quite a bit of energy. But at this point in time, they go for that line out. And the 6 ball not quite clean. And this is the second time that Manicaland is dominating. A lot of shoving and pushing within that ruck. And this kick, not very sure what he was trying to go for there. And I do agree with what one of the fans is saying. Manicaland should have gone for the box kick. It's a standard for every halfback, a standard for every fly half at this stage to have a box kick that takes you out of danger or applies pressure to the opposition. 17 minutes into it, and Old Georgians Dragons in possession at a very dangerous point, just 18 meters from the try line, with options on the right and the left. We can clearly see that the forwards, the backs have been split two ways, and Manicaland stealing that one. And what a tackle. And we see the tackler holding on to it. Rudimental mistakes being made by Manicaland. And then we get, you see, the aggression from that veteran flanker. A quick pick, but this time with no one on the hip, meaning that Manicaland can challenge this ball. Already playing on an advantage, on a penalty advantage. All Georgians and ref calling the game to order. The ref just having a chat with Manicaland as well as Old Georgians. Wants to keep it clean within those rucks. Like we did say, maybe the Dragons have found their mojo and would like to take every game on to Manicaland, and they've opted for the scrum. So from the penalty, they could have gone for posts, they could have run the ball, but they opt for the scrum. A scrum would really work for all Georgians. Not quite sure why they're not dominating in scrums. The culture of scrumming is quite strong at Old Georgians. Old Georgians based at their home club, which is in Groombridge in Harare. That will be the hosts of the Bartes Trophy 2024. Zimbabwe is hosting that, and all the matches will be played in Zimbabwe. So lots of junior rugby set. Also a bit of some Africa Cup rugby set for Zimbabwe. Sables will have to play against Uganda this year, and it's a must win because that's the only way you can then get to the World Cup qualifiers. Back on the field, Old Georgians dominating. Now the scrum is doing its job. It's ready for use. And then we've got the first screen. Smart play, open, slow offload. Now the winger has quite a bit of some work as the defense caught wind of that. And they keep going on to the right, no numbers. Manicaland coming through aggressively with some pretty good pressure defense. And Old Georgians not poking a dent on that gain line. With so much work put in, and they only gain about a meter and a half laterally. It really looks like Manicaland are doing very well. Later on we'll see the hosts. Today they won't be playing against the same under-20 side. So we've got Harare Sports Club as one of the favorites to win this cup today. And there's quite a bit of rivalry. Losing to any under-20 side will make you the bottom of jokes in rugby circles. So it's beyond lifting a cup. It's all the pressure that you can apply to these under-20s. All Georgians, once again, we did speak about this and their version of rugby, which looks like a template. Very slow to offload. There we go. That pick with a big man. Ah, what an offload from the halfback. 3-on-1. Can they score? Once again, Old Georgians will not score no matter how many people they have on the far side, and that offload is simply not coming through. A nice inside pass. Congratulations. It is a try, but it came 20 passes a bit too late. All Georgians Dragons with an expanse of players to choose from. They have so many players within their pool, access to Harare clubs and top tier clubs, and they're struggling today against Manicaland. The score sheet does not reflect what's going on the ground. All Georgians Dragons 10, Manicaland 3. But the boys from the Eastern Highlands, the Mountain Goats, showing us just how much oomph they've got. A test of the boot once again. This should be a textbook kick for the Dragons. And comes through. 12-3 with about 3 to 5 minutes to be played in the first half of the first match, right here at the Machinery Exchange Stadium at Harare Sports Club. A lot of rich history at this ground. Loads of tears of joy and misery for national teams. This time the kick finds no receiver, and quite some scrappy rugby there. Still to find out what's going to happen with Stefan Hunduza, also known as Tavo. He was one of the stalwarts and one of the main characters that led that charge against Old Hararians Sports Club. Old Hararians, with all the great players that they have, are struggling, and they will be tested today with more solid opposition coming through. Next up will be the Nedbank High Performance Under 20 squad versus Matabeleland. Old Hararians versus Pit Bulls, and then Harare Sports Club versus the Nedbank Junior Sables Under 20. And we'll have the women's final today. There we have the Dragons. Quite a strong fly half they've got there. Second phase, not quite sure who was meant to receive that, but they recover quickly. There we go, a lot of size but not running straight. Scrappy rugby from Old Georgians this morning, and I'm sure their coaches are not very happy about that. Communication on the ground is quite low. And Manicaland looking quite relaxed and knowing exactly where they can break them down. Manicaland coming through with what might be a 3 or 4 man line out with a quick 2 ball. What a set piece. And there we've got that, some textbook rugby, and on the far side, open play. The weakness of Old Georgians. Very well done by Manicaland, but unfortunately might have lost that ball, and they've retained it. With numbers, forwards not taking it up, being dominated by the Dragons, and there's a potential of a penalty. And the smart money will always be to go